week or so, I believe I've received three major revelations from the Ruach. So the first one was being um, what to do about family and friends, which I released in a video on YouTube called "A Flood of Judgment is Coming," based off of Jasher chapter 6, verse 16 through 25. And the second one, major revelation I received, is what the next 9/11 is going to be, and I've released that video as well. And the third video, this is going to be a video in and of itself, but it talks about the book of Daniel. And so in Daniel chapter 10, verse 33 through 35, it talks about how some of understanding shall fall, right? And so basically, those of us, and the purpose of this Daniel chapter 10 verse 35 is to prove loyalty to the Most High, because the believers that will fall are going to be those who have secret sins or stains on their garment, because because they need to be purified, as in Daniel chapter 10 verse 35. And so that's why it's so important now to really get right and not have secret sins. And to the one thing I always prayed for anyone else like listening that I may send this to, is to don't ask for all this. If you ask for all these things, these giftings, pray for grace to go with it. I always pray, and Stephen Darby taught me this: all power to the Most High Yahuwah, and praise unto his name, and esteem to his son Yahusha. But always pray to extend grace, that he would extend grace to you, and that you may, Luke 21:36, be kind of worthy to escape all these things that are going to come to pass. And so basically, and I can prove what I'm saying with the book of Daniel, with those who need to be purified, those be the ones falling, because Revelation chapter 12 verses 14 through 17 say that those who don't go into the wilderness for 3.5 years, that is going on concurrently while the 3.5 year great tribulation is going on. The common misconception, it's 3.5 years, not 7. But while we're in the wilderness, those of us who don't go to the wilderness, Revelation 12:14 through 17, Revelation 12:17, those of us who don't go to the wilderness are going to be the ones who the Antichrist is persecuting, which goes back to, and it says that they will proclaim the name Yahuwah Yahusha, right? So those in the body who have idols and/or I don't really know, but those who still have stains, or the Most High, those who need, I'll say it like this because I don't have the correct wording. So those who need to be tried and tested still, they will, again, verse 17, they will need to be left here to basically be tried and purified, and to prove and test their loyalty. Forgive me, I misspoke earlier. Um, and so that goes, well, Zeal, how can I prove what you're saying? Well, when you go to Revelation chapter 3 verse 10, it says that the assembly of Philadelphia will be kept from the hour of trial. Okay, now fast forward Revelation 12:14. Again, we're going to be going into the wilderness for 3.5 years, especially if people want more proof. Look at the sign of the eagle. Exodus chapter 19 verse 4 is shown. It shows, or Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 49 shows that the symbol of our captivity, that's represented by our captivity as an eagle. And Exodus 19 verse 4 shows that not only did our captivity was represented by an eagle, but our deliverance was represented by an eagle as well. And so going back to Revelation 12 verse 14, that same eagle, because we know there's going to be a greater exodus, you see that same symbolism of the eagle again in our deliverance into the wilderness. So the wilderness is very literal, and those, as in the book of Daniel, I don't know all the kings and what all that means, but I know per end times prophecy and per who's going to make it and who's not, that those, I can confirm that those who need to be tested, who have stains on their garment with secret sins, I don't know how to say it, like hidden lusts, you know what I mean? Like, of course, like, we're all gonna like struggle, but I'm assuming if it has a major stronghold, and or if it's like basically, if you still need to be tested, like, we're all gonna have stuff we're struggling with, but unless it's like I want to say, basically, unless you need to, I mean, again, that's up to the Most High's discretion. My best advice on who needs to be tried and who doesn't, but my best advice is, again, it's to Luke 21:36, to pray to be kind of worthy to escape all these things. And so I'm going to put all the Bible verses to go with all this, so So how do we know that the Revelation 3:10, Revelation 12 is talking about the same context? Well, when you go to Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 7 through 11, it says that
Jacob, great is the last that day is great, and that day is the day of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So we're going to be saved out of Jacob's trouble. Most people think that's the Great Tribulation, but Jacob's been in trouble because Ezekiel chapter 20 talks about, our trouble is basically our dispersion among the nations, and the specific curses when we get dispersed or scattered are mentioned in Deuteronomy 28, as we all are aware of at the moment, and we all feel it, even if we don't know every word. And so, pretty much what's going on, Jeremiah 37 through 11, is we'll be saved from the day of Jacob's trouble. So Jacob's already been in trouble the last 2,000 years, since we left the land, and since the 10 tribes went to Babylon in the book of Daniel, right? And so what's going on right now, what you're seeing is Jeremiah 37, 11 through, or 11, which is what we're going to see, not what we're seeing, but what we're going to see is verse 10. Well, how do we know that being saved out of Jacob's trouble is talking about? Well, verse 10 says that he will save us, that we will be saved, right? And then we'll be saved from the land of our captivity and basically brought back to the land, okay? So that's going back to Revelation 12:14, Exodus 9 verse 4 with the sign of the eagle, Revelation 3:10 with us being kept from the hour of trial. Well, how's he going to keep us from the hour of trial? By the second Exodus, which is the modern day ark, So with that being said, I hope this is confirmation for many of you. I love you all, and I hope to see many of you in the greater Exodus, also known as the second Exodus. I love you, family. Shalom.